Hey everyone, it's Argonath here from The Right Way, and one more video for today. You may or may not know, Joe Biden's ratings have taken a sharp decline over in the US. So even if you're not from the US, I'm in New Zealand, I take a very keen interest in the politics over there, especially during the Trump era. Even though you might not like what how Trump portrayed himself in terms of saying things on Twitter and so on, he had some really good policies and so on. And Joe Biden is absolutely destroying things in America, and I think people are now starting to see that. So let's have a look at what's happening with Joe Biden's approval ratings. So this is from NBC News, which is typically a very left-wing organization. The honeymoon is over and the fading Republican support was inevitable, but Democrats are alarmed by President Joe Biden's decline in job approval among groups central to his base, most notably black voters, Hispanics, and women. Well, maybe if he actually did some things for these people and made their lives better rather than just trying to indoctrinate them and make them indebted to the government, then you might not have that falling support among those particular people. Despite the slip in the job approval, Biden's economic agenda remains popular in the same polls. Of course it will, because he wants to borrow tons and tons of money and give it out to lots and lots of people. So who would not say no to that, obviously? But the bills have been caught up in complex legislative logjam for months. Since late June, Biden's approval rating has fallen from 52.7% down to 44.5% in the 538 average, with disapproval outstripping approval since the end of August. Democratic pollsters say Biden needs Congress to pass his agenda for his approval to recover. I think the Democrats are very worried because they've got elections and things coming up soon, and if Joe Biden doesn't turn that around soon, it's going to come through with the way that people vote for either Democratic Congress people or Republican Congress people. Voters are looking for a return on what they were promised, said Jeff Horwit, a Democratic pollster who co-conducts the NBC News poll. So yeah, a lot of what he's promised hasn't actually come through yet, even though he's been in the job for quite a while now already. So he needs to get started on that particular process. Horwitz said the sausage-making process is uninspiring to voters who just want to know when they're going to be able to afford childcare and make ends meet. Also, all of this ridiculous mask mandates and vaccination mandates and so on is turning a lot of people off, because in the US they're fiercely independent compared to a lot of countries like where I am in New Zealand, where we're kind of a bunch of sheep and kind of just do what we're told. It's messy and it's part of the process of making laws, but having meetings and disagreements, that's not making people feel great about the president and the job he's doing. The things promised in the campaign, not a lot of them have turned into law yet because he's been disastrous. Just look at the pullout of Afghanistan. Could that not have been handled any worse by anyone else? I mean, if Trump had done that, you can imagine the left-wing media would have torn Trump to shreds. But because it's Joe Biden and the Democrats, didn't hear much about it at all, really. The shift among Biden's base has become stark. A Pew Research Center poll found that from July to September, Biden's approval rating fell by 18 points among black voters, 16 points among Hispanics, and 12 points among women. He won all three groups by lopsided margins last year. Among voters who identify as Democrats or lean Democrats, his approval fell by 13 points. So even for people who are Democrats, his approval rating fell by 13 points. Just shows you that they're not very impressed by what he's been doing. And in fact, with Trump had the best black unemployment figures ever, the best Hispanic unemployment figures ever, and so he was actually doing something to make the lives of black and Hispanic people in the country better by providing them jobs so that they could then provide for their country, for their family. They're not dependent on the state for money, because that's how you remain in poverty. The way to get out of poverty is to get a job, improve your skills, get better jobs, improve your pay. That's the only way you can get out of poverty. You can't get money from the government to get you out of poverty, because then you're reliant on the money from the government and they just won't be able to give you enough to make it useful for you. Among independents, another key group that powered him into the White House, Biden's approval rate fell from 54% to 42% over the summer. But the same poll found 2-to-1 national support for 2 pillars of Biden's agenda, so that's obviously all the spending and stuff that they want to do. So there we go. So there's quite a downturn in support, and you can actually see it among the normal people in the country, right? Not the left-wing nut jobs, not the far-right idiots, just normal people who are centrist. You can see what they're going. So you might have heard of the Let's Go Brandon meme that's going around the world. If you're in New Zealand, you might not have heard about it. So I've got a video to show how it all started. So it started with an interviewer interviewing this guy who just ran a NASCAR race. Just bear with me for a minute. We want to hear the chants that the crowds are making, and then what this NBC reporter actually says. So listen very carefully. You might need to turn up your volume a little bit.
Be home to mom and dad, and oh my God, thank you so much, Larry's Lemonade. Thank you so much, Trade the Chain. Thank you so much, Jabs Construction. Thank you, Mid-Atlantic. Thank you to all of our partners. Oh my God, it's just such an unbelievable moment.
So listen to the chants in the background.
You also told me, as you can hear the chants from the crowd.
Did you hear that? It was F Joe Biden. So they're saying F Joe Biden. We can clearly hear it. I'm sure that the people in the front can hear it as well. Let's have a look and hear what the reporter actually says.
Let's go, Brandon. Brandon, you told me you were going to...
How do you go from F Joe Biden to Let's Go Brandon? It just shows you how biased the media is in America, right? They even lie about what's happening to the people that are watching their shows. I cannot believe how people watch that rubbish. So they're doing F Joe Biden, and it's not just, you might think they're rednecks from the South or something that are all Republican voters. Have a look at this football stadium in the US. These are college students. Typically, they're not particularly that into politics and so on. Just have a listen to this. Alright, and here's another couple of videos. This is from Sky News Australia. Let's go Brandon! So I'm doing the Let's Go Brandon chant now. It's become an amazing meme around the world.
Parts, they're going to help kick this thing off. Alright guys, ready? In 3, 2, 1.
Drivers, start your engine! Let's go, Brandon!
The little kid even says it. Is that just priceless or what? So you can see that it's not just Republicans. There seems to be a very, very big discontent with Joe Biden in the US, and I think that's going to be a lot of trouble for him when it comes to the midterm elections and so on. Anyway, let me know what you think. Are you still happy about having Joe Biden as the leader? Do you think he's not doing so well? I'd be interested to know in the comment section. Let me know. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like the video, you're welcome to give it a thumbs down. And if you like my content, then please subscribe. It'll just help my content to get noticed by the YouTube algorithm. Anyway, hopefully I will catch you in the next video.